Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be just going over a few things. Number one, the divisional round of the NFL playoffs are here. As you can see, my entire playoff predictions, they didn't turn out so well. No, they didn't. But now we'll just be going round by round. This week we'll do divisional. Next week we'll do conference championship. Then week after that, or when it gets there, Super Bowl. So we're not going to be doing divisional and conference and Super Bowl this video. That'll be either way, you know what I mean. We'll also be talking about the NBA trade deadline. We'll be talking about a trade that already went through and future trades and future, not future, NBA big names that could be traded, maybe not. I will be talking about some of those guys. So without further ado, let's get to the divisional round predictions. First of all, we got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans. Now, today, ESPN, all the sports networks, they all confirmed that Derrick Henry is back. Tennessee did activate him off the IR, and he is set to play Saturday against the Tennessee Titans, against the Bengals, sorry about that. But this should be a good game with Henry now in. I think the Bengals, this will be an offensive game. The defenses will get absolutely shredded. Joe Mixon, he won't have a good game. Tennessee's run defense is just too good. I think he'll get stopped pretty well, but that's fine. Mixon, he can still catch the ball. He can still run some routes. You still got Jamar Chase. You still got T. Higgins. You still got Tyler Boyd there, along with C.J. Uzomah, who I think will have a solid playoff. Joe Burrow, he will be nasty per usual. But Derrick Henry, he is too much. Even though he is coming off of a foot injury, I do think he will have an amazing playoff still. So that's why I have the Titans in this one. I have the Titans in 47-44. It will be like I said, a high-scoring game. Or some maybe 37-34. It's gonna be it's gonna come down to last minute. I think Cincinnati will turn over the ball, like in the 2-minute warning, and Derrick Henry is gonna do Derrick Henry things, and then a field goal kick will go. But really, that should be a good game to watch. It's probably going to be my favorite 1 seed versus lower seed game. Those usually are blowout games in favor of the 1 seed, but I think this one will be good. But if Derrick Henry weren't playing in this one, I would think Cincinnati would win. But Henry's back, and I think he'll do very well. All right, our next divisional game is the San Francisco 49ers at the Green Bay Packers. Now, as you know, I had the Cowboys winning the whole thing. And obviously, to do that, they had to beat the Niners, in which they didn't. And Dak Prescott, he was not happy about it, obviously. But I don't know if he needed to go off with the refs for that ball, for that last play. You have to give the ball to the ref after every single play. I think that's on Dak. I think he should have just thrown it right to the ref. If he did that and the ref were taking a while, then yes, I would side with Dak, but he needed to hand it off to the ref. The ref needs to spot the ball. But either way, enough about that. Niners won. They're on to Green Bay, in which they face Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Nick Bosa will play tomorrow. Just saw that. I don't know about Fred Warner. I think... Sorry, got itchy eyes. I do think Fred Warner will play. I don't think his injury is all that bad. Plus, he was hopping around pretty good when the Niners won. So I do think Warner will play. And that will give Aaron Jones a very hard time. But the way to beat the Niners is to pass. And oh boy, Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, they will have a field day. Sorry about that. Against the Niners. Now, they did play each other in Week 3. It was a very close game. Aaron Rodgers brought it down to the final minute. Don't get me wrong, this will be... that game was very close. But that was in San Francisco. that is where the Niner faithful came into play and made that game close. This one's going to be in Lambeau, and this one is going to be a blowout in favor of the Packers. I do think the Packers will win 35-13. I do think the Niners offense does get going a little early, but like a Jimmy G pick six or something, I think. Yeah, pick six will hurt them. Plus, the Darius Smith, I think I did see something that he will be playing tomorrow as well. So I do think he'll have a solid game against Elijah Mitchell and George Kittle. Debo, I think he'll have a solid game as well. He did prove me wrong yesterday, but I do think San Francisco season will come to an end in Lambeau Field. Now, like I said, I had the Cowboys and Buccaneers in this game, but obviously that did not happen. So instead, we got the Rams and Buccaneers. Two very good teams who are also coming off of a Week 3 rematch, which is pretty convincing. But the Rams, they got better, adding Odell, adding Von Miller. The Buccaneers, they got a little worse. They lost Chris Godwin for the year, torn ACL, AB being an absolute idiot, and Lenny out for the year. Rojo, I don't know if he'll be back or not. That I didn't see anything about. But Tristan Wirfs getting injured in the wildcard game. I don't think he'll play. I think that O-line will be banged up. I did tell my friends about the result. And they can always tell me, don't bet against Brady. Don't bet against Brady. Trust me, I'm a Patriots fan, like I said last video. I loved Tom Brady, and I always stuck with Tom Brady. But this game right here, I don't think he'll have a good game. I think Jalen Ramsey will get Mike Evans good. And I think Gronk will be the top targeted guy, and I think Von Miller he will have a solid game with the run and with Gronk. So that's why I got the Rams moving on. It'll be a 24-10 victory against the weakened Buccaneers, and really Brady, I don't know if he'll recover from that. I think next year will be his downfall. I know it sounds weird, but I do think Brady's final good game or great game in the playoffs is right here. I know it sounds crazy, but I think it'll happen. I think Brady's downfall will happen next year. But either way, I got the Rams moving on. Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, they'll have a great game because, again, the way to beat the Bucs is through the air. So yeah, there you go. Rams, Packers, NFC Championship. And the last divisional game is the Bills and the Chiefs. Now, like I said in my last video, I did have the Patriots beating the Bills in a close game, but instead it was the absolute opposite. The Bills beating the Patriots, an absolute blowout. It was probably the worst game I've ever seen. As a Patriot fan, to be totally honest, our defense, they were left at TF Green. I mean, really, they just didn't show up. They were so bad, and we really deserved to lose that game. But now the Bills, they are on to Kansas City, where they lost the AFC Championship game last year. It'll be a very fun rematch, and I honestly am pretty happy that this matchup happened. It'll be Patty Mahomes, Josh Allen, Diggs versus Hill. Bills have a great offense. They have a great defense. Same thing with the Chiefs. I think their defense got a lot better. It's in Arrowhead again. It's going to be cold weather again, I'm pretty sure. And this will be a very high, I think it'll be a high-scoring close game. Because I think that Chiefs offense will be too good for Buffalo. But Kelsey, he'll have a great game. I do think Dawson Knox will have 2 touchdowns in the red zone. So that's why I don't think he'll get much yardage. But I do think Kansas City will move on. I do think Kansas City, I think they'll have the edge. It'll be 37-34 the final. Bills have another disappointing end to their season. They will not go to their second straight AFC Championship. Instead, the Chiefs will go to their I think their 4th straight championship, AFC championship. They'll face Tennessee. They will go to Tennessee, like I said in my last video, just against a different opponent. And really should be a good game over, I guess, in Kansas City. A nail biter. But like I said, KC's offense will have the edge. And I think Andy Reid will have a great coaching game. So, Chiefs, Titans, AFC Championship. Now we shift over to basketball. Our first time talking about basketball on this channel. The trade deadline is coming up. That means big trades are about to go down. One trade with a somewhat big name has appeared, and we are talking about the Bol Bol trade. Basically, the trade is it has to do with the Celtics, the Nuggets, and the Spurs. It is a 3-team trade. Boston, they got Bol Bol and PJ Dozier. And Denver, they got Bryn Forbes from the Spurs. And then the Spurs, they get Juancho Hernangomez from the Celtics and Denver's 2028 second-round pick. So basically, what does it mean for everyone here? Let's start with the Celtics. So for the Celtics, they get Bol Bol. I mean, that honestly, when he's playing, I think he'll be a very good player. I think honestly he could have a chance at the starting lineup next year. I don't know about this year because he's obviously recovering from an injury that could keep him out for this year. But next year I think he'll definitely have a good fight for the starting job. I think Robert Williams will be a solid power forward, but Bol Bol, he'll get the center position. I think he'll do a very good job with that. You saw him in the bubble. He was great in the bubble in preseason. Again, I know it was preseason stuff, but I think he'll do a great job coming off the bench for the Celtics. Bol Bol off the bench. He'll get a lot more playing time in Boston. He'll he'll be led by like Horford, maybe Tatum, Williams, like Grant Williams, Robert Williams. Really a solid coaching staff. And also Brad Stevens. I think he'll give him some tips. But I think this Bol Bol will be a very valuable aspect to the Celtics bench, maybe lineup. PJ Dozier, I think, again, adds great depth to the bench, something that we definitely need. So that's definitely not the big one for us. It comes back. Comes back for us. And then, really, I think the Celtics, they got a pretty big bite of the cake there. They got a big victory in this one. Adds depth to their bench for next year and for this year. PJ Dozier when his knee gets better, but definitely next year in Bol Bol, or maybe even in the playoffs if you even make it, or the Celtics even make it. Shouldn't really say we. If the Celtics make it, but really, yeah, it should be a good addition for the Celtics. It's a great trade for the Celtics. Now for Denver, they get Bryn Forbes. I think, again, I'll add a solid amount of depth to their bench, especially dealing with injuries with Michael Porter and Jamal Murray, who has yet to play the season. Adds a little help there for Jokic. I think that's a solid aspect for them. And now for San Antonio, they get Juancho Hernangomez and a second-round pick. Really, I don't think that's much of a change. I think as Juancho will be a solid and okay aspect, and the 2028 second-round pick gets right. I mean, in the future, all that. Really a great little addition there for San Antonio, as they are kind of tanking a bit, but they still got some good players on that side. I think the winner from this trade has to be the Celtics, and I'm just taking that from an honest standpoint. I mean, adding Bol Bol and PJ is pretty dang good, especially with Bol Bol, for a bench that desperately needs a little bit of depth, and maybe even helps out with the front court with Robert Williams and maybe even Bol Bol. You never know, though. Bol Bol, again, when he's playing, he's a very good player on the court, I think. And really, it's a victory for the Celtics. So that is my quick little take on the Bol Bol trade. You leave me your opinions down below in the comments if you want. But without further ado, let's go to some trade deadline predictions. Alright, so the NBA trade deadline, it was definitely an interesting one last year, having to do with Vucevic going to the Bulls, Fournier to the Celtics. Basically the entire Orlando Magic organization exploding. But this year I think it'll be even more interesting. The players that we'll be talking about in this episode will be an obvious one: Russell Westbrook, John Wall. Some surprises here, with a little bit of surprise: Miles Turner, Damian Lillard, and Ben Simmons. Some will stay, some will go. Without further ado, let's get started. The first player that we will be talking about is Miles Turner, Pacers center. And really, it's a weird situation here with Miles Turner, because I don't know what is going on in Indiana right now, but the Pacers, they are 17-29, 13th in the conference. I mean, they have a solid roster, don't get me wrong. I mean, they got Sabonis, they got, again, Miles Turner, they got Malcolm Brogdon, they got Chris Duarte, who has been very good this year, Karis LeVert, who hasn't been so bad. Really, I'm just surprised that the Pacers are just the third worst team in the conference. And really, with the way that they've been going, Miles Turner going and leaving Indiana kind of surprises me a bit. No, Ash, it's weird. I have mixed feelings about it. But either way, Miles Turner, he is a defensive monster. He's a block monster. If your team is struggling down low, Miles Turner is a massive aspect for you. And if your team needs a center, then again, Miles Turner is a great aspect. So what is my prediction for Miles Turner? Which team will I think he'll go to? That team will be Dallas. I think the Dallas Mavericks will trade for Miles Turner to get that center situation filled up, because I think Kristaps is more of a power forward more than a center. Indiana will receive Maxi Kleber, 2022 first round pick and a 2022 second round pick. I think that'll be a decently fair trade. Maxi Kleber, power forward, he's been putting up some solid numbers this year. I think he'll be great, either in the lineup or coming off the bench. In that 2022 first, that'll help him out getting a player there. And that second round pick, I think, will help too. But I think Miles Turner to Dallas will make Dallas, I think, a pretty decent finals contenders. I'm pretty sure their lineup, if I have to check with the trade going through, it will be Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson, he's been great this year, Tim Hardaway, who's also been solid this year, Kristaps Porzingis, and Miles Turner. That's a pretty good lineup. Got some offense, got some defense, and some depth over there. Finney Smith, Bullock, Nicotina. I mean, it's an okay bench, but I think Miles Turner will definitely help out that lineup a bit. And with Kristaps Porzingis, I think that'll be a pretty hard front court to stop offensively and defensively. And that would definitely give Luka Doncic some help. And especially with the Mavericks now being in 5th place, I think that will boost them up a bit, maybe the 3rd seed, maybe the 4th seed. So really, obviously the winner from this, I think, will be Dallas Mavericks, getting Turner, a big defensive player, and giving away a solid amount. So yeah. Our second trade that we will be talking about is none other than Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook he's been awfully disappointing this year. I mean, I went to the Celtics Lakers game. One of my good friends got me some tickets to go to the game, and we both agreed that Russell Westbrook was Russell Westbrook until the fourth quarter. He was horrible until the fourth, but then when the fourth quarter came around, he started to show up. But yeah, Russell Westbrook, he was not good. Like, the Celtics literally let him wide open. Yeah, I even screamed and was like, leave him wide open, leave him wide open. And he was just so bad. And the Lakers, they need a shooter. Because my friend, just like I follow the Celtics, he follows the Lakers pretty well. And he knows that LeBron, he needs a little shooter. And I think Russell Westbrook, he's going to be out of here, out of L.A., probably most likely at this deadline. I think he'll go to him along with a first-round pick this year, next year. But most likely this year they have one. He'll go to Sacramento for Tyrese Halliburton. Now, Tyrese Halliburton, I mean, I would imagine most of you have heard of him. But if I go to his stats, there we go, Halliburton, going down to ESPN. Quick little thing about Halliburton. He's a very good defensive player. Very good with the perimeter. Take a look at his stats here. Regular season, his 3-point percentage is 43% from 3. Free throw percentage, 81.9. Compared to like Westbrook's 30, I'm pretty sure, from 3. So not only you'll be getting a point guard, you'll be getting a point guard that can shoot, you'll be getting a point guard that can defend very well. He's got a huge wingspan, and he's also in his second year. So that's why I think Westbrook in the first will do good. Maybe a second will have to go into play. But really, if Halliburton goes to LA along with LeBron, AD, maybe with a new coach, LA could have abandoned number 18 in Staples Center. It'll always be Staples Center for me. Like Crypto.com Arena. Come on now. But either way, the Lakers will be pretty scary with Tyrese Halliburton in LA. I mean, his field goal percentage, 46.7. Gets 7 assists per game. Almost a block per game. Gets basically 2 steals a game. I mean, he gets like 13.7 points per game. It's solid. But he can definitely shoot. But then again, he wasn't the number 1 scorer in Sacramento. That was De'Aaron Fox, obviously. But he'll very good from 3 too. But I think Tyrese Halliburton, he'll be a great aspect for LA in the future. All right, next up is Damian Lillard. So Damian Lillard, there's been rumors swirling around that he'll be leaving Portland pretty soon, maybe this year, maybe next. I think, I mean, don't get me wrong, Portland will want to keep Dame. Obviously, he's basically the face of the franchise right now. He's been that for like the past, I don't know, decade. But really, I think his time will be over. Where I think he'll go, believe it or not, I think he'll go to the Celtics. Damian Lillard to the Celtics. And the Celtics will give up a lot. We'll be giving up Al Horford, 3 firsts, and 3 seconds. Now, I know you're saying to me, the Celtics are giving up their entire future. I mean, what do you mean? Why would they do that? Listen, the Celtics have been focusing on the future for way too long, I think. I think it's time to win, and I think it's time to win now. I think with the Bol Bol trade, the bench has been leveled up. We'll only be giving our future away. I know, it's only our future. It's just our future. I mean, really, it's weird. I think we should be in a win now moment. I don't think this year will be our year. But I think we need a new coach. And really, I think Brad Stevens should make this happen. I think really it helps out with our shooting. Him and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum will be absolutely unstoppable, along with possibly Robert Williams and Bol Bol out there, or maybe we get a small forward in there, or we get Damian Lillard, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Robert Williams. That will be a good lineup. That will, or it'll be Damian Lillard, Damian Lillard, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Robert Williams, and Bol Bol. But I think the first one seems more likely. That will be a great. I think that'll be a great trade. Damian getting on age and also coming off of that big injury. Really, I think it'll be one of those trades where one team will be asking for a lot, but we'll be getting a little. Well, this isn't really a little, I'll have to say. But I do think this could honestly be a realistic option. The only other option, I think, would be Lillard to the Sixers for Ben Simmons. But I have another thing for Ben Simmons. That's next. But I do think the Celtics, they need to go in win-now mode. They need to get a point guard. And I think Horford, I think he'll be gone. If not, I think maybe a better trade will be Horford and Schroeder for along with a first and 3 seconds for Damian Lillard. I think one of those trades will work. I think they'll still be great either way. But yeah, one of those two trades, I think Damian Lillard could end up in Boston. I think he will end up in Boston. Yeah, I think that could definitely happen. If not, possibly the Sixers for Simmons, but or he'll stay. We never really know. But either way, like I said, you never know. Lillard to the Celtics is my prediction. All right, next up, like I said, Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is next. I mean, you know what's going on, Ben Simmons. I mean, he's becoming a living meme. I mean, he has not done anything at all, really. He doesn't want to be in Philadelphia, and I don't think Philadelphia wants him. Joel Embiid, I mean, he's kind of tired of him. I think at this point, Ben Simmons leaving Philadelphia is inevitable. I don't know if it's going to come with a trade. I don't know if it's going to come with free agency. But I do think a realistic option for Philadelphia will be Ben Simmons to New Orleans for Devontae Graham. Seth Curry is usually a player that comes and goes, and I think he'll go next year. If not, he'll stay for like 1 or 2 more years coming off the bench. I don't think he's a starting caliber player. I do think Devontae Graham is, though. He'll be playing the 1. Maxey will be playing the 2. But I think Devontae Graham, I think he'll be a great aspect. He's an underrated player, solid passer, solid scorer. But really, Joel Embiid, again, he'll obviously be the Harden. So I think those two have a great bond. As for Simmons, though, he'll obviously be taking the lead point guard role in a struggling New Orleans team. Really, it'll be him and Valanciunas, along with Ingram and maybe Zion. Honestly, that is not a bad lineup. That is seriously not a bad lineup. And I mean, when you look at it, it's really a playoff contending lineup when everyone's healthy. I don't know how Zion will be when he's finally healthy, but with the weight he's been putting on, I don't know if he'll do that well. Oh man, I was so hyped for Zion though. But with that lineup, I think New Orleans could be pretty dang dangerous. But they will be giving up they'll also be giving up 2 firsts and a second. That could be a lot, but you never really know. It could be just Devontae Graham or maybe just a second. But I do think it'll be 2 firsts and a second. But really, I did forget, I'll tell that next thing, but yeah, I think Ben Simmons will go to New Orleans and Graham will go to Philly. Okay, so I did forget the winners of the Westbrook, Lillard, and Simmons trade. So let me just do that real quick. The winner of the Westbrook trade will be the Lakers. Like I think could tell my winners, but Westbrook he will he'll do okay. I think he'll do solid in Sacramento, but I do think Tyrese Halliburton he'll be great in LA. He'll be a great aspect to LeBron's team, but yeah, the Lakers will win this. Like I said, they will be a scary team going in the near future. As for the Lillard trade, I do think Boston will win again. We should go in win now mode. The Trailblazers, they will be led by CJ and Al Horford, along with along with Schroeder, or a lot of picks. That will be a solid victory for them too. But I think the Celtics will get more out of this trade than you think. As for the Simmons trade, the winner here I think will actually be New Orleans. Don't get me wrong, Philly finally getting Ben out of there, that's a big win for them. But I think New Orleans, with that lineup, when healthy, will be a great lineup, and I think will be a surprising lineup next year. And really, even though they're giving up a little bit there, that'll be that. I think surprisingly, New Orleans will win this trade going forward. All right, now for my final trade. Actually, my final player, John Wall. John Wall. He's been dealing with a lot, like injury-wise. I don't think he really wants to play in Houston, but I do think he will stay in Houston. I don't think really, with his age and what's going on with his body, I don't think anyone's going to want him. I mean, he hasn't been playing a lot at all the past year, so does anyone want to risk him with that? If anything, he'll just be added to a team just to be a bench player, and I don't think he'll want that. So I think he'll stay at Houston. I think they'll probably say to him, hey, listen, you're probably going to be a bench player in the near future. So, that is my prediction for that. I think John Wall will be staying at Houston. But that will do it for us today. I sure hope you enjoyed my predictions for the playoffs and the NBA trade deadline. Next week, obviously, just giving a little preview. We'll be talking about, the conference championship, and the rest will be to be continued, because you never know what happens in sports. You never know if any of these trades will go down. If one big name goes, I'll be talking about that for sure. But maybe the baseball lockout gets done. Finally getting some baseball action in this channel. But really, that will be it for us today. Sure hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to, like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends if you want to. Getting the channel going, already got a few subscribers in there. But yeah, that'll be it. See you in the next video.